Hello, it's Lana from Sage and Sound, and today I wanted to do for you a video on managing emotions associated with climate change. I want this to be the first in a series that I want to do about managing anxiety around climate change because it's something that is a real growing problem in today's world, and for a lot of people it's such a problem that they stop taking action, and we really want to target that and get people back to feeling like they can make a difference with regards to what's happening with our planet. So most of the techniques that help us with coping with climate change anxiety have to do with our mindset. However, there's something really important to understand, and that is you cannot change your mindset if you are too much in your emotions. So with our brain, basically there's a limited amount of blood flow, and the more that's going to the cognitive, logical, rational part, the less is going to the emotional centers. And once your stress response has been triggered, once you're in fight flight, once you're in an anxiety space, the opposite is happening. There is a lot of blood going to the amygdala, the center that's responsible for fear, and that means reduced blood flow to the cognitive, logical, rational part. So you literally will not be able to use strategies to change your thinking, and that includes, other things like being able to create action plans and implement them as well, if you're really stuck in fear. So today's video is about how to get out of emotion back into the logical, rational part of our brains. The idea behind it is that once emotion's been generated, it has to be processed. So every time you see something that you think is stressful, if you have a thought about something that causes you stress, there's a certain amount of emotion that's being generated, and it's going to sit there until we process it. A lot of people are in the habit of pushing feelings down, particularly negative feelings. They don't want to feel them, so we sort of essentially shove them in a closet until they build up so much that they explode all over us. This is when people will say things like, I'm completely overwhelmed. And with climate change, it's where we often hear words like despair, which is sort of completely overwhelmed in a different sort of a way, but the same thing. There's too much emotion there. It's too much stuff shoved in that closet, and I can no longer act. I can't carry that level of emotion around with me. Rather than wait for it to get overwhelming, which is a really powerless space for us to be in, what we want to do is process that emotion as it occurs. Long term, we want to change the way we think about situations so that we don't encourage any extra emotion being generated that needs to be there. But for now, what we need to do is work with the emotion that's already there. So it basically just means feeling your feelings. So you take time out. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not doing anything, take it out right now. Otherwise, it's helpful to be able to check in throughout the day as well as in the evening. Don't leave it for once a day if you're up in that high level of feeling overwhelmed, because it won't be enough time to process. What we want to do is when we take this time out, we want to just feel what's in our body. So the best way to do this is a body scan. You just start at the top of your head and you just notice, how do I feel? Is there any tension? What do I feel inside? We keep going down. You might have jaw tension. It might be across your neck. You might feel tight across your chest. You might feel sick. Whatever you can pick up in your body, you just notice it. You let it be there and you give it a label. This is fear. This is despair. This is what overwhelmed feels like to me. And in feeling those feelings, but also giving them a label, what we do is we start to contain them. So labels help us to conceptualize experience and sort of put it into a box almost, so if we have a word for it, it's less overwhelming than it was before. And if we can say to ourselves, this is what overwhelm feels like, then now there's a part of us that's standing back from the experience of being overwhelmed, that can look at it and that is not consumed by it. So if you do this process regularly, you check in with your body, you label how you're feeling using an emotion word, and you notice the physical sensations, and you can also give it a rating out of 10. I'm feeling afraid. 4 out of 10, 7 out of 10, whatever it is that you're feeling at that moment, then you start to put some distance between yourself and the feelings. And then that's when you're going to be able to do some work around looking at, well, what are the thoughts that are contributing to these feelings? So while we're not willing to have the feelings to see what they are, we've got no chance of being able to identify the thoughts that are causing them. We have to be okay with the feelings being there to then be able to look at the level underneath. So you can help to say to yourself things like, this is how I'm supposed to feel. It's okay to have these feelings. I don't like these feelings, but I'm prepared to have them anyway, in order to help you get through that body scan experience. Just checking in with your emotions multiple times a day and doing that describing process is a lot more work than we tend to normally do with emotions if we haven't been taught this process. So very quickly you'll find that this changes your relationship to the emotions. You're allowing them to be there, which is a version of expressing them, so they're then free to pass through your body. They won't build up as high, but you're also getting yourself used to having those feelings, and that helps us be less overwhelmed as well. So if you think about any new experience, there's a lot going on, a lot to take in. The first time you go to a new place, everything's different, but even by the second time you go there, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, there's a corridor down here and I need to park over here if I want to be able to get in quite quickly, and you just know so much more about it. And the same thing applies to our feelings. The more we get to know them, the less overwhelming they'll be as well. So you've got this sort of two-pronged attack that's going to help you take your feelings down to a level where they feel more manageable, and then when they feel more manageable, what we know is happening is that in your brain you're having some more blood flow to the cognitive, logical, rational part of your brain, and then that's going to allow you to take the next steps in terms of analyzing, is what I'm thinking right now helpful? And if it's not, what do I need to do to change my thoughts so that they are more helpful and they're promoting more of the emotions that I do want? So excitement, that feeling of motivation, joy, gratitude, compassion, the positive ones, and the ones that are going to help us in terms of feeling balanced, but also being able to take the most action in terms of showing up for change to climate change as well. So that is today's strategy. It's about being able to feel your feelings. If you would like a specific guided meditation or an information sheet on how to do this, then if you could just email hello, HELLO, at sageandsound.com.au, then we can send you through some more support resources to help you with that. And as always, if you'd like some individualized, personalized support with this process, then be sure to go to the website sageandsound.com.au and just click on the Book Now button to book an appointment with one of our team, who can then help you with the specific aspects of climate change that are worrying you. But honestly, regardless of what they are, it's going to be really helpful to have this technique in terms of being able to feel your feelings and to get your brain out of the emotional start part and back into the cognitive, logical, rational part where you can take some action. So I hope you found today's video helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.